Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Today's something different. I realize that I'm not going to get this week's episode done in time. I'm a mess. I've been working extremely hard on some other stuff and I haven't had a lot of sleep. So what I decided to do was to put together a quick episode with 10 frames. Frames are ideas I have for cues. And what they do is they go into something I call my vault. And they sit in there and they ferment, and every once in a while I'll pull one out and I'll work on it, and then I'll put it back in the vault. Some of these are 15, 20% complete. Some of them are 50% complete. Others are close to being done, maybe 80, 85% complete. I pulled out 10 of them that I think are at least 50% or better complete, so you get a good idea about what's going on. There's a mixture of styles. There's some Latin style music, there's some pure orchestral, there's some orchestral synth hybrid, and some maybe what you might call some new age type stuff. One thing I believe is you never play your best stuff on YouTube for anybody. If a producer or a director calls you and gets a hold of you and they're interested, then you should play them your best stuff, but not on YouTube. I just think that that's a bad idea because you should keep this stuff and it should be fresh for anybody that hears it. The other thing is I'm going to put a copyright date of 2025 because that's when I'm putting this on YouTube. But a lot of this material has copyright dates on it that go back maybe 10 or 15 years and they're individually copyrighted. Just want to put that out there. Also, probably during the play of this episode, I might put a few notes up on the screen. I'll definitely put up the name of the cue and what portion of the movement of the cue it is. Some of the cues are like 3 minutes long. Some of them are 2 minutes long, but I'm only playing you a short snippet of the cue. You get 10 cues in about 7 minutes. So it's shorter portions of the cues. Like I said, there's a good variety in here. I think the first one is Hampton Days Wedding, which is one of my favorites. And that's probably about 60% complete. And then Bullets and Blood is about 80% complete, and I like that. It's very stylized, kind of in the style of music you might have heard in the movie Nobody, in The Equalizer, in John Wick, in those kind of movies that are out these days. Anyway, here we go. you.